Don't you just love a little bit drama and intrigue with maybe a side of lying? I do. Well, anyways, we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that Cliffy B said, where he maybe threw some other developers on the bus and said they might be full of shit. That's going to be an interesting topic. I saw this yesterday, and I knew I had to make a video about it because I wanted to talk about it. Now, before we get into any of this stuff, I just want to reiterate that I don't know anything about game development whatsoever. I've never made a game, don't know what goes into it. These guys are all infinitely smarter than me, so I'm just going to put that out there. Don't know anything about game development, but I'm going to talk about some of this stuff because it is interesting. So Cliffy B has been out promoting Lawbreakers, his newest game that comes out pretty damn soon. Now, they have an open beta coming on PS4 and PC. Now, of course, because the game's not coming to Xbox, which I covered in a previous video, a lot of Xbox fans have been tweeting him, and he says this. He says, clearly, I will say this about Xbox fanboys. Whenever I talk about Lawbreakers, y'all come out of the fucking woodwork, appreciate the interest. Well, of course he appreciates the interest, because he wants his game to get a higher profile, and you could argue it's good business sense to make the game, exclusive to a console to rile up the other base, or to get more interest out of it. Whether that pays off in the long term, who knows? But the video's not going to be about that. The video's going to be about a reply, he said. So he said that they're a new team making a new IP on 2 platforms, 63 employees. Making it for 3 platforms would have been impossible at launch. Okay, fine. I know some indie developers out there tend to focus on one platform or another over another because they're too small. They don't have the resources, the manpower, the money to put it on all platforms. I get it. That's fine. Like, totally understandable, right? But one of the things that we've heard from Microsoft since the release of Xbox, or since the announcement of Xbox One X, is not only that the system is powerful, but also that they've streamlined the porting process, and that is insanely easy to port your game to. And that's what Craven got here said to Cliffy. He says, I don't understand. I hear from Microsoft how one person get the PC game straight to Scorpio or Xbox One X in one day or a few hours. And Cliffy B says, yeah, it's not that simple at all. Whoever said that is full of it. Now, full of it, of course, meaning full of shit. Now, this got me thinking, did I misremember all these developers coming out and saying that they got their game running on X really fast? Because, I mean, it's possible. Like, it's been a while. You know, E3 was a month ago, more than a month ago. I do recall people coming out and saying, like, man, this thing is a beast. This thing, we can got our game running on it really fastly. So, you know, I did a quick search on WCCF Tech because they kind of have these things, you know, stored in their database. And sure enough, Gears of War 4 was running in 4K on Xbox One within 1 day, with overlap for improving visuals. Okay, yeah, cool. Path of Exile, they got their game running up in 2 hours, 4K 60 after receiving their dev kit. Even the Monolith Shadow of War people, they had their game running in a day on the system when you listen to those interviews. The Turn 10 guys, they talked about how they basically got their game running. One person in 1 day got that game running on X. Now, are they all full of it? Is this kind of just like a PR thing for Microsoft? Is Cliffy B telling the truth? I mean, he is a game designer. He's been designing games for a long time. I'm sure he knows what he's talking about, but does he have any actual experience porting to Xbox One, let alone Xbox One X? Now, it's interesting, because if you click on this thread with Craven God, where he asked this question, Cliffy kind of tagged in a couple people. One of the persons he tagged in was Roman Dura, who said, nice, where's the tutorial? And you look at him, and he's the lead engineer on Lawbreakers at Bosky. So you got to kind of be like, wait, what exactly is going on? So we have Microsoft. We have a collection of developers saying that it is extremely easy. I mean, even Vufu Studios is like, it's a breeze. You know, there's so many articles out there that you can find about how easy it is to port to X. But then you have Cliffy B saying, nah, man, like, those guys are just full of it. So is he straight up just lying, damage controlling his own game? Or is there more to the story? Now, I already kind of know some of the counterpoints people would make here. Well, Rand, you can't really include Gears of War 4 or Turn 10. And it's like, okay, I understand that argument because those are first-party studios. They would have a lot of they were involved with the creation of the system. So of course, okay, first party studios, Gears of War 4 already existed. It's easy to port or whatever. Sure. Oh, but Rand, Monolith Studios, they have a marketing deal with Xbox. Of course they would lie. I don't, whatever. Path of Exile. Like, you go through all these devs and people will pick certain things. And then so the basic implication is that, that the PR is spinning. That all these developers are lying about the capabilities of X. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is Cliffy lying or does he just not know? Right? Because there's a difference between the two. If he's purposefully lying, then that's kind of screwed up. But he may not know how fast it is to port. Now, also, one of the bigger issues I find with Xbox One X is that you still have to make your game for Xbox One. And while they seem to have streamlined the process for Xbox One X, I'm not sure the process of getting your game on Xbox One is any easier than it was before. Sure, it might be easier to get your PC game up and running on Scorpio right away, but it still might take some time to get it to run to Xbox One. There's a lot of different things here to consider, and like I said at the very beginning of this video, I don't know anything about game development. I just saw a situation where clearly, there are devs saying out there how fast it is to get running a game on Xbox One X. I mean, there's multiple articles up there. I just picked a couple, right? So we have developers. We have Cliffy B's contemporaries saying the opposite of what he just said. Cliffy B just said they're full of it. But yet, so who's telling the truth here? Is Cliffy straight up lying? Or is he just not informed enough? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Because if you... And you have to ask yourself, well, who do you believe? Do you believe all these different devs, whether they're first party, whether they have a deal with Microsoft, whether, the indie guys like the Ark and things like that, those guys, are they in Microsoft's pocket and saying good things about the system just because? Or is Cliffy B like the shining beacon, bringing the truth to the unwashed masses? Like, nah, man, they're full of shit. I don't know. I like Cliffy B. I've always liked Cliffy B. He's always seemed like a cool dude. But I'm not sure about that statement of his. I'm not sure. If it was literally just Microsoft's first-party teams saying how awesome it was to develop these games, right? How amazing and how fast it was to port these games to the system, then I would kind of lean towards Cliffy. I'd be like, you know what? The only developers saying anything about this are Microsoft's own first-party studios. That would be a sign for caution, but they're not. It's not just Microsoft's own first-party studios. Small devs have said how easy it is. Bigger devs have said how easy it is. So you have all these developers basically kind of contradicting what Cliffy B is saying. And we don't even know if Cliffy or his team at Bosky have any porting knowledge of the Xbox One or Xbox One X. I mean, Bosky Studios is new. They haven't done a project yet. Do they even have... there's a whole bunch of questions. And I thought this was an interesting topic to kind of talk about because I see it, Xbox fans will align with the opposite. They'll align with Microsoft and the PR and be like, well, Cliffy's wrong. But then, of course, I see the PlayStation fans aligning with Cliffy. Well, Cliffy's telling the truth. All those other people are lying. It's kind of interesting where you kind of come to lying. Do you believe Cliffy and disregard everybody else? Or do you believe everybody else and disregard Cliffy? Interesting. Very interesting. It's all kind of like part of the PR game, in my opinion. Somebody's lying, or maybe not necessarily lying, but maybe somebody's maybe we're not getting the whole truth. Maybe Cliffy B meant more. Maybe there's more to just a single tweet. I mean, it is less than 140 characters. I mean, is it possible he meant something else from what this said? I don't know. But like I said, when he said this, I was like, hey, I've heard other devs say that exact opposite. But anyways, I just wanted to make this video. I have no idea how long it was going to be because I just like to kind of get on here and speak my thoughts. I appreciate everybody coming in to check it out. And let me know what you think. Are you with Cliffy B on this one? Do you think Cliffy is telling the truth? Do you think all these other developers are full of shit? Or are you siding with all these other developers that have come out and said the X is pretty powerful and that porting to it is extremely easy? Or is there a story here we're not understanding because we're not game developers? I don't know. I'm gonna go with everybody else, and I don't necessarily think Cliffy's lying. I just think maybe he's not fully informed. But I don't know. Whatever. That's just my thought on it, and I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see everybody in the next video.